Meeting announcements here. And we'll get set to start another meeting. Okay, we are streaming. Good, well, welcome everyone to Photojournalism Night. Let me turn on so the people at home could see me here. There we go, welcome everyone. Photojournalism Night tonight. And before we start, some routine announcements. Upcoming meetings. Next Friday, March 24th, Paul Lender, who is a Clevelander, will be doing tintype photography. Now, he's a very, very interesting person because he also does other types of photography. And if you just Google him and go on his website, it's actually quite interesting because the tintype he does is very, not reminiscent, it's kind of identical to the old 1860s, 1870s, but in this day of senior portraits and whatnot and everything else, they are really, really appealing. If I was going to have my family portrait done too, you know, they're not exactly in focus like the old tintypes were, but it's a really just different genre and actually just very, very interesting. He's going to be here live and go through the whole procedure and whatnot and talk about his work, so that should be very interesting next week. Live lecture. March 31st, back by popular demand, the Critique Night. Please, all of you in the audience, people at home, submit some images. All you have to do is email them. Email like one per image. You don't have to downsize them to info@clevelandphoto.org. This is always a fun night. It's going to be constructive criticism, no judging at all too, and in real time, we'll be able to edit the pictures so that there'll be no holding up of hands to see what a crop looks like and whatnot. If a judge, not a judge, but if one of our panel says, you know, I take a little bit off to the left, that might look better, we're going to do that live on screen. Or if I lighten this person a little and things too, so we can see what they look like. So if you have any pictures you're proud of, you want some input onto too, you just want to show off anything, email them. Email them up till the, the deadline is even that morning. Yes, so if you even email me to info@clevelandphoto.org, the morning of the critique too, I will get them in. So up to 3 images, submit, it's a lot of fun. And then April 7th is Good Friday, so the clubhouse is going to be closed, and we're going to have instead a rebroadcast that I went through our old lectures, and this is from 2021, but he's a very interesting guy, Michael Chinichi, Evoking Emotion. And what it is again, he's a photographer. He spent a lot of time in Cuba and put a book out in 2021 on Cuba, the people there as well. He's mostly a people photographer, and he's putting one together now on India. But the thing about his pictures, and travel photography, people is one of the things I like to do, is if you go to his website, again, just Google him, get an idea what his stuff is like. It is truly amazing because, again, it's the old, why didn't I think of that? In his travels, he has the angles he takes things from, the way he lights, the way he stands people and whatnot. It just really is something. So I think we'll all get a lot out of that. And so that's going to be an encore presentation, and you'll find that on our YouTube channel there. And then April 24th, another live lecture. Yes, that kid is young. This is Alex Isengard, who's a Clevelander. He is 15. And already he has a huge following on Instagram. His Instagram handle is Kid with a Sony. And he started 2 years ago doing bird photography and started to get really good at it and started this whole Instagram thing with the birds and whatnot. And again, a tremendous following. And he's going to talk to us on how to take better bird pictures. It should be interesting, if not, to really feel bad that a 15-year-old is telling us how to take better pictures, and his pictures are excellent as well. So that's going to be a live lecture again, and it'll be a lot of fun too. March 21st, coming up this Tuesday, is our mentor-mentee selection meeting. The mentors will be there, give a short presentation of their work and interests. Potential mentees are encouraged to attend, so you could kind of pick which one you like. The sign-up is going to be after that evening and in the next few days. I am also going to live stream this. So if you can't be here, you'll be able to see the presentations of the mentors on our YouTube channel as well. So that's coming up this Tuesday. April 6th, our next SIG meeting, first Thursday of every month, with Dave Bush, always a popular group. And Dave's going to talk about astrophotography, everything you need to know about astrophotography. We're going to break up into groups then and go over camera-specific issues, as we usually do. So that's coming up April 6th. Spring classes are starting. Fundamentals, Intro to Photoshop Editing and Lightroom. They're starting in the next few weeks as well, so there's still time to sign up for those as well. These are all lend themselves very well to be done virtually as well, or a hybrid. The links are kept up for a year, so the weather's bad or whatnot, which I don't anticipate in the spring, or you're not able to be at a class, you could always do these online. And again, you can go to our website, www.clevelandphoto.org, and sign up on the schools page. Our annual required meeting by our bylaws, April 21st, for election of officers and board members. We encourage everyone to attend. We've been doing it for about a year or two, remotely or by email because of COVID, so this is our first time back again. The membership slate is on the homepage of our, the proposed slate is on the homepage of our website. But it's a good opportunity for people to attend. The club leadership will be there. You could ask things, criticisms, suggest things, throw things, whatever as well. But it's a good time. That's coming up April 21st. End of the year competition is underway. If you have prints, the boxes for the prints are in the gathering room there as well. Choose your images. Deadline for submission is going to be March 31st for the Shutterscore ones and the print ones, and the award ceremony will be May 19th. All of the rules and things for the club you could find on our website under the competitions page. There's a section about year end. And the Wilds, we have a date. We have 2 buses going through the Wilds there too, May 31st. It's for members and students only at this point because we have 40 spots. We didn't want to put too many on the bus so that we have enough room to take pictures and things like that. But this has been very, very popular in the past. These are the only 2 pictures I could find. And I'm sorry, that giraffe looks like he's eating tourists, so there's no way around it. But I'm amazed how close the animals can get, so bring a telephoto and a wide angle. But sign up will be, if you're a member in good standing or a student, you should have gotten an email with all that information. If you think you should have gotten an email and didn't, just email me at the info@clevelandphoto.org, and I'll track that down. Yes, a question. Yes, the bus holds. It's not a. This might be an old picture, so I'm not sure what the current ones use. But yes, we get ourselves. We drive down there or carpool down there, and then the vehicles that go through the park hold 20 people. And we have 2. We've rented 2 of those, so that's the setup for that. And then free, always free. Joe Vanasek and the club has gotten a donation. Someone didn't know what to do with free lens cases sitting over there in the corner. I'm sorry, the people at home, there's nothing you could do, but those are free over there. If you want one, you can put a beer in it, whatnot. Take them home. Nothing, no strings attached as well. I put the slide in, so I didn't forget to tell you about that. And of course, all of our meetings, our public meetings, are live on our YouTube channel. You could get to that through our website, the clevelandphoto.org. On the home page, there's a YouTube icon. You click on it, and when you get to the YouTube page, click on Live. And then you'll see in date order all of our presentations and things up there. So now let me turn this screen back. You can see, I'll turn this light down, and we'll start to get underway with photojournalism.
And I believe Bob is here, so I'm going to take him the mic.
Thank you.
And when you're done,
Give it to David.
give it to Dave. I just saw him walking.
Okay. You could be, we're not on camera here, so you
Oh,
could
I
be,
can do
you
anything
could
I
go
want.
you can go anywhere you want from your seat, anything you want to do.
Okay. I'm going to editorialize today on a very important topic, but I'm only going to cover a small portion of it. And it's why women outlive men. Okay? Why women outlive men. May I have the first photo? This is taken in Alaska. 1 year ago, I spent several weeks in Alaska, and in this particular day, I was staying in Palmer, which is a small town southeast of Anchorage. And when I woke up, there was 1/8 of an inch of ice covered the entire car, covered everything. Now, women would say, let's stay for a few hours and let the ice melt. Men say, let's get in the car and get going. We have things to do and places to see. So that's the beginning of the trip. From Palmer, I went to Anchorage because I was on my way to Homer. And as I entered Anchorage, I stopped for gas and a cup of coffee, and everyone said not to worry, the roads seemed to be much better on the way to Homer. 2 blizzards later and 222 miles later, and roads like this were just common. Once I left Homer, I was heading back to Anchorage, and let's see the next slide. As beautiful as it looks, on the dark side of that mountain range was a vicious snowstorm. On this side of the range was a rodeo, a snowmobile rodeo, okay? There were hundreds of people there, okay? How they got there, I have no idea. We were 60, 70 miles from Anchorage and 120 miles or so from Homer. There was nothing in between. May I have the next slide? This is a moment where these snowmobiles are going 40, 50 miles an hour. And the first part of it is women watch crazy men do crazy things. The goal here was to hit the tree and not die. Okay? Okay? What happens next is, I dare you creeps in, right? May I have the next slide? Now, I want you to know it's 20 degrees outside. It's 20 degrees, and this man, he's an elderly guy. You could see by the white mustache. He's cruising along at 50 miles an hour in a short-sleeved shirt. Now it really gets serious. We're now getting to, I dare you creeps in. Can I see the next slide? Okay. That's the moment of craziness, because the women are all in their little groups chatting and eating cookies and drinking hot chocolate, and the men are doing that. Now, if that doesn't look crazy, it's just a subsection of why women truly outlive men. They don't do crazy. Thank you.
First of all, what was this crack about white mustaches?
How distinguished you are.
And secondly, I don't have that humor, and as a matter of fact, I may need my notes.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okie doke. Okay, for me, one of the best things we do as a club is community service. And the Greater Cleveland Animal Protective League calls us in pretty frequently, and it's been a real pleasure to photograph their events for them. This is one of the workers at the APL, Cleveland APL. And she had a group there, 3 people that were looking at this dog and considering adopting it. I looked up some statistics, and this is why I needed these notes. And I need my glasses too. Hang on. Bob, you might be right about the white mustache business. I'm glad I'm here because if Bill or Mariah had read my notes, they're inaccurate. I said that the APL was celebrating their golden anniversary this year, and actually they've been there for 110 years. My math was terrible. So, Cleveland area shelter statistics, the latest statistics I could find were for 2021, show that 100% of the healthy and friendly animals were placed in homes or transferred to other shelters or rescue groups. In 2021, 4,515 animals were admitted to the shelter. And of those, 3,926 were actually adopted. So you can see they do a lot of wonderful work there, and such a high percentage of the animals that come in there are adopted. Okay, Richard. This is one of the vets that work there. I had photographed like the Dick Goddard telethon and some of the events that they held. And so I was actually invited to come back on an actual work day. And I was surprised to see the number of employees in there, and the work that they were doing is absolutely amazing. They offer a wide variety of veterinary services. They performed 4,962 spay and neuter procedures, and they performed 240 other surgeries and dentals. The Cleveland APL believes in maintaining a human-animal bond whenever possible. So I think this was one of the actual veterinarians, a doctor that was performing this procedure on the dog on the table. Go ahead, Richard. So May 20th, I'm going to volunteer again to photograph the Cleveland Asian Festival. It's a wonderful event. It's a lot of fun. And when Deborah needed somebody to photograph the event, I raised my hand because I was going anyway, because it is a lot of fun. Cleveland Asian Festival is a grassroots festival that highlights Cleveland's Asian town, diversity, and Asian culture. Free admission, free parking, free tour of Asiatown, and free performances on 2 outdoor stages. And obviously, young lady in the picture is getting some help from mom in preparation for her performance. Cleveland Asian Festival will offer a world market, 122 vendors. There'll be more than 25 local restaurants, caterers, and cultural associations offering authentic Asian cuisine. They will also offer free health screenings in the health pavilion at the Asian Pavilion. So this is just some of the young ladies who would be performing shortly on one of those two stages. So people of all ages perform, and they love doing it. As you can see, these young kids were having a ball. And you get a hint at the size of the audiences that these little performances draw. There'll be games, sumo wrestling. I took a lot of pictures of kids, especially, playing checkers, and some little bitty kids playing checkers, or chess, rather, I mean, playing chess against some adults and faring quite well. There'll be an eating contest. The sumo wrestling is something the general public can participate in. You put on those big, huge sumo wrestling things and bounce around off each other. It's a lot of fun. So if you have a chance, go on out, enjoy it. And I know Deborah's still looking for a couple more volunteers for this year's festival.
Is Dee here? I don't think so. Okay, these photos are by Dee Riley. The first is titled Tower City Saxman. Cleveland renowned street musician Morris Reedus Jr. passed away in 2018 to the great loss of the Cleveland public. She titles this one Wayne School Days. Historic Wayne Antique Engine Club reclaimed a schoolhouse. This is D-Day Sleeping Girl, and it's just a picture of a girl taking a nap during the D-Day activities. I'm going to guess that was probably in Conneaut. This is titled Jefferson House Fire. Oh, I'm sorry, Jefferson Early American Days Blacksmith. It's a yearly event at the train station in Jefferson, Ohio. And last is titled Jefferson House Fire. Route 46 in Jefferson came upon smoke billowing out of the house, sat with the owner until the firefighters arrived. Complete loss of the house.
Diane Glaetzer is the next one, and her picture is homeless in San Francisco. No matter the city, no matter the state, and no matter the country, homeless people are and always will be a sad reality. I happened to see these two through the tour bus window and grabbed a quick photo of them in passing.
Next up is photos by Fran Marino. And the first is titled What's Up, Redwoods? Looking straight up at the redwoods in Crescent, California in January 2022. You realize how very small you are when you stand up next to one of these beauties. Next is Little Lassies on St. Patty's Day 2022. If you are a dog lover, then what an adorable sight to see when there are 7 Lassie dogs in a stroller enjoying the St. Patrick's Day parade on a gorgeous day down Euclid Avenue in downtown Cleveland, September 17th, 2022. This is dunk in overtime win. Cleveland Cavaliers, number 8, Lamar Stevens, dunks the ball over the head of number 57, Mike Muscala of the Boston Celtics in a dramatic overtime win, 118 to 114. The fans went crazy and were on their feet. And the last is jump ball. The Cleveland Cavaliers, number 4, Evan Mobley, 6'11" center, gets control of the jump ball in the dramatic win over the Boston Celtics in a 118 to 114 final score on Monday, March 6, 2023. Center court seats are truly a once-in-a-lifetime view for this amazing game.
The next participant is Jackie Sajewski. Her picture is busy street corner. Waiting for something interesting to happen for street photography takes a bit of luck and perseverance. This busy intersection in the Cleveland Theater District seemed like a good spot to be ready for a scene to happen. I feel I got lucky in capturing this one. Loved the 2 women walking and chatting over their morning coffees while strolling. But I think the scene is supposed to be 2 kids sitting down and the adult perhaps telling them to get up and walk just a little bit further. Then beyond that group, another walking, adding to the depth of the scene. I like turning this to black and white to really make it about the characters.
Is John here? These photos by John Paganini, and I apologize if I butchered the name. The first is arrival at the auto show. The car was towed on a flatbed to the IX Convention Center on a rainy day. This is called Mike and the Ducks. Photographer Mike Demeter taking a photo of ducks at the fair.
The next photographer is Mariah Kaiser, and that's me. First picture I called A Bunch of Animals. This was my neighbor. I was having a sale in my garage, and the neighbors all came. And he came with, I don't know how many there are there, but he was just clutching them. So I thought, well, that would be a good picture. This next one is a windy beach. Some months ago, I went over to the west side, to the beach there, and the wind was blowing. It was midwinter, and the wind was blowing, and the sun was out. And so I walked down onto the beach, and the sand was whipping into the air, which made it that funny, fuzzy, moody picture. So I took this one. I did crop it a little bit, but the rest of it is as it was. This next one is a museum visitor. Seeing a wall of color, any single color on a museum wall, always makes me wonder how it became part of the permanent collection. Do you think the visitor was also wondering the same thing? This is one of those things, why didn't I do that? The next one is, do we throw it back in? The family went fishing for a crab dinner. Taking along the measuring tool was a must. Too small, and this catch would need to be put back in the water, and rightly so. I think this one made it. Another museum picture. I was visiting the museum. And I call this cell phones versus large, colorful art. This needs no explanation. Notice the expression on the face of the youngest member of the family. No cell phone.
The next photos are by Mike Murray. Oh, there he is. 1 second.
No, it's all right. So we have 45 photos tonight. I paid off a guy named Richard. This is from the farm we went to in Richfield back in mid-October. And it was about noon and everyone was leaving, and just the way photojournalism works, the owner just happened to walk over to the chicken coop, and I just happened to have the speed shutter going, and he just happened to open up the door, and this is what happened. So, so I realize there's some dark features there, but we can't really edit for this event here. I like the ellipse more than anything. Like on that screen there, it doesn't, the colors don't all show up as well, but so yeah, the fake lips is what did it for me, and I've been starting to promote this in a couple places, and I put a label on it called "Who's Next." So anyway, so that particular chicken, I think it is a chicken. I was trying to research that. Came out with another one, and the other picture would have been called "We're in Charge." Another chicken was standing right next to it, and they were just like boldly walking through the grounds there like they own the place. So it's a really nice picture too. All right. This girl on the left, I tried to track down the family. This is the Balloon Fest in Ravenna in September, and the picture I really like of her is just taking in the moment. You really got the impression it's the first time she went up there in the balloon, or she just really loves her dad. I'm pretty sure that's her dad. And so I decided to use the dad one here because he's smiling a little bit, but I just like the common part they have, just the joy that they have going up in the balloon and doing it together. So, but she, in the other picture, her smile's even more subtle. It's like she just enjoyed it and didn't even have to have a big smile to convey that. That was just right after they got off the ground. They weren't too high up. This picture here, I took my son, Eric, he's 27, on a father-son trip to California and Oregon last summer. We got to Cannon Beach on the coast of Oregon, and taking pictures is a little bit awkward because when there's kids in there, I just have a hard time with that because the mom was real close to there, and I really want to say, hey, can I get permission? I might want to do some stuff with this photo. I see the contrast, and it's like you don't want to come up to a lady and just say I was just taking pictures of your family and your kids. So I let that one go, but I've talked to a lot of family and friends about it. It's just a nice picture. I just love the contrast, and I cut off the big rock a little bit just to crop it in so we could see the kid a little bit better. So there was more room on the far right of the rock. The rock is from the movie The Goonies from the 80s, so it's a real famous scene in Oregon. But I just love that boat more than the kid itself, just him holding that boat there. When we were wrapping up our trip, we knew about this place. It's called East Jesus. It's a figure of speech, and it's an art installation where they take broken things or things that would end up in landfills, just garbage basically, and they have probably like 50 different exhibits or art pieces there, maybe even more than that. And I tried to edit this one a little bit. I think there were more TVs, quote unquote TVs there, but this was kind of like one of the standouts there because it was so large. So it's just very eccentric people. They live on a former military base, and the town starts with an N, but they call it Slab City, and they live there with no electricity, no sewer. No nothing. They just have like a bunch of trailers, and then they hide behind the walls. So like there's a wall on the back there that's just glass bottles. They're really into glass bottles. So they live in trailers, and then they kind of watch you walking around the grounds. Nobody comes out to explain the art at all. I'm sure they might be out periodically, but I think the norm is for them just to stay in hiding. And you can leave a donation at the donation box. We put $20 or 20 each when we came by, and then my son had some type of liquor bottle from the trip, and he finished it up and left it on a chair there. So an empty liquor bottle makes them very happy because there's more glass to break and put into more things. It's California. It's about 3 hours southeast of LA. There's a huge lake there that became like an ecological disaster. I forget, it's like something called Salton Sea. And people weren't sure if they were getting ill there or not. So, but anyway, it's called East Jesus. It's next to a famous place in a movie called Into the Wild, about the kid who ate some stuff in Alaska and lived in a bus. It was based on a real kid. He had a scene in that movie where he went to the place next door to this called Salvation Mountain, where more nomad type of people live. So anyway, I highly recommend it. You're safe in the daytime. So, they have a sign on their website that we checked out ahead of time. We had some drama tonight, so I don't feel bad about the time. We checked it out, and I know we can't swear here. I try not to swear, but the sign, we were trying to stay there overnight. We were trying a real creative trip. We wanted to stay on the grounds there and, do whatever labor they want. They said, if you stayed there, do something. It's like we were willing to work a couple hours in the sun and do whatever. And but it turned out they just didn't want anybody there for some reason. But they just wanted donations of paint and stuff. So, but the sign on their website says, if you come after dark, we'll kill you. So, and I think that was their way of conveying anger and concern. But that when you get there, there's some F-bombs right on the sign saying different things like, don't take anything or destroy anything. So, but there's a body coming out of an airplane on one of them. One of the art installations is a mannequin falling out of an airplane. They took like 40 ducks and cut off their heads and hung them like on some rafters somewhere. So, but all those glass bottles, there's a giant 5-foot tall rubber duck that's right in between all the bottles on the right. So it's fun to go there. Thank you for listening. I think. Oh wait, we got a bonus picture here. There might be one more. There could be one more. This might be the last one. This is Edgewater Park a couple months ago. I just took like 5 or 6 pictures, and this happened here with the jogger going over the puddles. So, what did I name this one? Puddle, just called Puddle, I think. Yeah. So I just liked people all doing their thing. The guy on the far right, his back is to us. He ended up going over to the tree that you can see on the left and then stood there right for sunset. So I took 30 pictures behind him. I was talking about how awkward it is to take pictures of kids. Well, I'm standing behind a total stranger and just shooting every angle I could find. And then I went up to him and arranged to email him some copies of the pictures and stuff. But yeah, I didn't want to tell him to move or anything. I was just going to go with whatever he was doing, standing there. And he was doing like he's doing there. I just walked up and was just taking it all in. But I had to show you guys the picture with the puddle there. Is that the last one? Thanks for your time.
These photos are by Ron Wilson. The first is titled Amish Bikers. And Amish living in Florida use bicycles instead of horse-drawn wagons. They live in a small community near Sarasota. Ron titles this one Finish Line. It's the view from a finish line at a community 5K race. This is called Toast to Sunset. After a fun day at the beach, folks relax and enjoy the sunset. This is Do Not Feed the Wildlife. This is in Custer State Park in the Badlands of South Dakota. These wild burros have learned how to get an easy treat. There are signs all around that say, "Do not feed the wildlife." The park rangers are very unhappy about this behavior by the burros. And Ron's last photo is Mud Bath 5. Whatever you do, don't get muddy. A local park has an annual event called Mud Mania. They set up an obstacle course with slides, hills, pools, and sprays, and the kids have so much fun. Even the spectators are laughing.
This one is by Susan Mahorsic. It's called Detour. Downtown Miami and the nearby areas are going through a huge growth spurt. This means sidewalks and roads are in a constant state of flux, and it makes being a pedestrian even more challenging. That said, it doesn't stop anyone from having a night out.
Yeah, wow, so that concludes our images for tonight for photojournalism. So again, thank you for everyone that entered, and good night.